Hey, if the production on this thing ain't great, I will stop listening to hip hop. I will turn this channel into a K-pop channel or something. Two absolutely legendary producers. I didn't even know this collab was in the realm of possibility. Madlib's coming off two great projects, one with Talib Kweli and one with Black Star. Probably ain't heard them because Talib seems committed to these horrible rollouts, but that's neither here nor there. DJ Muggs had a quiet 2022, but that's after 2021 where I thought he was the best producer that year. Huge opportunity for Mayhem Lauren. I see him as a pretty good rapper, but if Griselda and Rock Masters are like that upper echelon of rappers in this neo-mafioso lane, Mayhem is more in that middle class. Like, he ain't a mansion, but he a nice 3-4 bedroom with a fenced-in backyard. But Flash is a lot of talent. He don't blow me away with his lyricism, but he's real smooth when it comes to that slick mob boss talk and that slick luxury talk. His last project with Darren is also his best one, so he got a little bit of momentum coming in here. Let's see if they can make some magic happen. These keys already crazy.
What up, what up? Niggas just wilding out there and shit.
Don't do that.
I'm chilling there and shit with this nigga that I'm godfather to.
Hey, you know they got something in the tuck if they willing to use that beat on a skit. That airy piano sample is dope. I like the lo-fi aesthetic to it. Let's get into Fresh Out the Water.
This is
a crazy vocal sample.
Ain't nothing different, it's the same man. True Lux and Uchi on the same day.
Ooh, this guitar in the background.
Ain't nothing different, it's the same man.
DJ Muggs' ad-lib just give me hype.
The most realist, the most fearless, I'm peerless. Propelling interference, used to pump packs on clearance. Evasive and persuasive, never basic, we advancing. Discipline and dodging cases, ain't no second chancing. I comprehend cause I'm the streets like Mike Skinner. Monkfish, Asabuco for tonight's dinner.
That luxury talk is on point.
So liquid and gas, it's ironic cause I'm solid. Cubano link brolic.
That's tough. So liquids and gas. I'm assuming liquid is referring to liquid ecstasy. And weed cause he's solid. That's dope. The 3 states of matter.
Broke the cycle, we was damn just like a water trap. Point guard mentality with shoulders like a quarterback.
I see what we doing. The beat is disrespectful. That vocal sample is weird. And it tied together with those drums and then that guitar that came in every like 8 bars. Lauren got in his bag on that one. He stuck to his guns as far as that mob boss talk and the luxury talk, but he upped the ante because everything was so vivid. He had a couple good punches, and I feel like every rapper who I question their lyricism make me eat it as soon as I say it. The rhyming here was pretty good. He played with some creative internal rapping. He played with mostly 2 syllables in both the first and the second verse, but you got a lot of variety with the internals. That's an opener. This is Szechuan Capital.
Protect your energy, counterproductiveness, the enemy. I'm just an MVP in an MPV, or a 7, or an 8. Ringside, in the rings, Nick, we stay resilient. Plant the seed, lay the blueprint, and then we build it.
I like the alliteration playing with that rust sound in the first lines.
On to the next, going that's the flex, matured, I'm the best. Rock a dawn on my chest. Can't roll when I'm Cupid, cop a cubicle and move it. Keep it moving if they stupid. I ain't going back and forth, if it above the culture, but really deserve a sculpture. Protect your energy, counterproductiveness, the enemy.
He lost a tad bit of steam at the end of that verse, but the way he started it, whoo, the alliterations, tough.
Yo.
Y'all gotta relax, dog.
G's up, y'all too know, keep it 1,000. Crystallized ginger pieces look like my medallion. Factual, another day, another broke
with a
law.
3 syllable.
$100 bill is just a Coke straw. Take that, use it, please don't return it. If you try giving it back, I'm gonna burn it on some sneakers or some salmon or some...
Bro, this is what I'm talking about, man. You gonna talk luxury talk, make me feel broke.
Parental guidance.
Yo, nah, they're not gonna change it again. They're gonna go back to the same beat, right? Yo, what are they on?
Protect your energy, counterproductiveness, the enemy.
Pop his head with the rear naked choke. Straight from Islam, Makhachev. Out the sunroof of the M5. It
This sample is so textured.
Think about how they built go Blecky Teppy. How I throw right and bat lefty.
Drove right back lefty, talking about switch hitting, but driving on the right side of the car.
Nectarine and 5 jet off the set like a sled. 2 motherfucking men's in it with no presents. My heart is colder than ever.
Little winter skiing, sled, presents, Christmas.
Made my wrestling debut in Queens right after Sting in a Great Muda. You somewhere playing with doodle. I'm putting more turbo parts on the gray Subaru.
Hey man, I know I'm looking a little crazy for the intro, but man, don't be rapping like this, dog. That nigga is spitting. I think he stepped the lyricism up even more from the first song. What he's doing as far as rhyming in the internals is special, and throwing the alliterations on top of that. More luxury talk, the exotic foods, the exotic locations. He still slided that mafioso talk in there. I think Action Bronson had a super charismatic performance, but I'm taking Mayhem Lauren as a star of the show on this song. You know what? I take that back. Mux and Madlib, I don't know what them niggas was on. That was the start of the show. 2 beat changes in there. All 3 beats were insane. They started out with those arpeggiating keys. They went to the guitar sample, and then they slowed the tempo down with that super texture. The keys stuck out to me the most, but then you had those vocal samples in the background. Beat was crazy. All these drums sounded great. The album sounded kind of sick. This is Midnight Silk.
Crime related, China plated up.
This simple note right here, I like when people do more with less. No drums on it either.
I'll explain it. For a minor payment, y'all could get annihilated, violated while I'm eating fish on City Island. Copping.
Come on, man, it's rapping. 4-syllable rhyme scheme, rapid fire.
While you browsing, dropped a couple 100,000 on Uber Eats and stupid sneaks, and I don't even got a
Uber driver probably quit after that tip.
Cash on delivery, Lord. We don't do receipts if things seem out of my range. I put them in my reach, and life is so monotonous. My story kind of different though. Tech 9 stages, gauges, people pitch and blow. Eyes on the prize.
Bro, he is floating. Nah, I knew it was coming.
Organ oil laced the hair on my chinny chin. 25 carats in the pendant. Damn right, I'm doing splendid.
Sound
My drip
like
is
it.
more like a river. My dress shoes used to slither. My palate killed more fish than the red tide. Fresh nigga, fresh cut in a fresh ride.
Hey, man was on Action Bronson's cooking show, so these food bars gotta be on point. My palate killed more fish than the red tide. The little phenomenon to be killing all the fish, that's tough. Sheesh, yo, man was rapping out of his mind on that first half of the song. The first half and the first beat, that was my favorite out of the 2. I like that super minimalistic approach, just a single note, but the sample was textured enough to keep your attention. But to be honest, the way that man was rapping, he could have did that a cappella and it would have been good. The street talk was on point. The lyricism was on point. I like the pace that he was rapping at. He slowed the delivery down and had a more methodical delivery on that second beat. It was all luxury talk from him. It wasn't as much lyricism as on the first beat, but I did like that fish line at the end of the verse. That was pretty tough. This is Sunday Driving.
I try to focus on the better shit. Spit forever shit, different kind of etiquette. Tapping the resources when balancing the deficit. Predicate felons at the dinner table with me. Forever
Low
crispy. QU, we keep it shifty.
Bro, he's getting in his bag with these syllable manipulations. I like that etiquette 3-syllable rhyme scheme that he hit back to back to start. And then he used that S sound as alliteration. And then he took that is sound and used it as part of his next rhyme scheme. I think it's really high level when you take one syllable from a rhyme scheme and use it to shift into the next rhyme scheme.
Outside, hidden in plain sight. My game's tight. On site, purchase precise. Nigga remain right. But I'm a lefty, muscular, hefty.
Back to back.
Like a jet ski, get stressed if you press me. I wrote this shit walking through Koreatown. 4 in the morning. Y'all niggas hold grudges, my niggas hold heaters. I hold my nuts while I'm driving 2-seaters. Ain't no room in this whip, it's only shotgun. That ain't a figure of speech, I really got one.
Yeah, this is the best rapping I ever heard from Mayhem. He was spazzing over that first beat. You pretty much just had the bass line, but you did have a pretty unique drum pattern in the background. Pretty drastic beat change. Mayhem was flexing that legal money on the second verse. I like the beat change to that bright beat with those really light synths, and then they had this arpeggiating piano in the background too. I like both beats, but that second beat was a vibe. It definitely gives that Sunday Driving feel to it. This is Big Money.
Word to the suede on the roof, I'm the truth. New York monument, even if the coupe.
This sample is from a 90s cartoon. I can't remember which one. Is it Jetsons? It's a tough flip regardless.
Nothing overnight, magically,
These stabs
did it
are
gradually.
hard.
Actually, will stop your battery for speaking cap to me. Shirtless, cooking lamb on the grill. Swordfish and all that. Now we back on our rap shit, you heard?
Swordfish ain't that good.
Wrong spot. If I'm
That nigga
feeling
love
rich in the
fish.
room, fiends will trade your sunglasses for a trip to the moon. I cop the worst prop on the back.
Trade sunglasses to a trip to the moon, getting high with the sun and moon wordplay.
Facts though, stacks grow, fast flow, really on some other shit. Ass
Like
bro,
that.
cash though, asshole.
Yes, sir.
I'm still the grittiest.
Like that rhyme
My
scheme.
bitch the prettiest. Obscure drugs, Bentley whippers, Fendi slippers, Louis bags. Versace tags stacked up in my top drawer.
Oh, hey, that's a crazy sample flip. Like I said, I think that's a 90s cartoon that he's flipping, but they ain't leave no meat on the bone with that sample. You had the organs kicking in, the horns kicking in, the guitars. The stabs is the craziest part about that sample to me, but beat was sick. Mayhem is still floating. The luxury talk is still super descriptive. This is evolution.
Don't compare my aura or my vocal tones with local clones. Early 20s, pre-camera phones, we was moving zones. Dirty money in the Coliseum, copping Cubans. Fiends was cashing checks for us outside of Western Unions. Every time my niggas came home, we had the best reunions. Throw some money in the
Opener was
sky,
sick.
take a little sip.
The first 6 songs all been about his luxury lifestyle that he's living now, so it's like a flashback to him getting it. It's tough.
Controls planning
Oh,
my goals
of course,
and
the
then I
song's
aim
called
above it.
Evolution.
The paper's #1, don't ever put the fame above it. I think back to where we came from. Look at where we at now. Definitely on the map now.
That was the least catchy chorus on here. It was also the most meaningful chorus, which made me a little conflicted because it plays into the theme of the song.
Pushing high price V's that we ship from overseas. Sim sack century scheming cause we were savages. Couple years later,
like that
graduated
alliteration.
flipping packages.
Slamming that
Now
sit
we
sound.
rapping shit, vivid and accurate. Bracket lit like a crime scene
syllable
or a
back to
high
back.
beam. Specialize in aeronautics, got a fly team. Multiply cream, thinking
Got
in
a
a
fly
sprightly
team,
fashion.
aeronautics,
So when
that's
you offer
fire.
me some bullshit, I'm politely passing.
Well, I like how watery this sounds. That's tough. Some of the best rapping from Mayhem. The lyricism hasn't slacked a bit, but we got a real personal 2 verses. Him growing up, getting it out the mud. I think this is the least explosive beat out of all the beats here. Still was a solid beat, but if we're gonna split hairs, it probably was my least favorite beat. But you know, we separating good, great, and amazing right now. Pretty solid song. I like the conceptual focus here. This is Don vs. Cris.
Yeah, that's on the bomb, yo.
Drinking champagne up in the sunshine. Doing my thing, ducking the one time.
For some reason, this beat has reminded me of a beat from Warning by Biggie. It definitely has this 90s East Coast aesthetic to it. That sample being in and out so fast, give it this stab type feel.
Went to the Coliseum block for a veggie patty. Got the number of a chick with a heavy fatty. Had my nigga Holly with me, he was
syllable
looking crispy.
rhyme
Ain't nobody that can front cause we now officially what? Some of the best that ever lived. Come through and bounce, no pictures at the crib.
Bro, he emptying the clip with all these flows he's got into over this album.
We out. Cartier frames with clear lenses. VVS ones and new Benzes.
Bro, this nigga been stunting on me so hard, I'm gonna have to take the chain down on him. I can't let him stun on me like that. Not for the whole album.
It's Kool-Aid. Hold on, we getting too paid.
Like my little chain moving the needle. Hey, it's a small channel still.
It's a new day, fuck what your crew say. Time to table fire the brulee. 95 neon and cool ray. Fly kicks touche, pop at your toupee. Ain't too fake,
This
crawfish
2
interior.
syllable.
Crude like the oil at Syria.
Man, stop playing with me. Hey, Mayhem running the table on some A-ball pull the way he getting in all these pockets. You had this up-tempo beat, and then Mayhem had this stop-start bouncy flow that paired perfectly with it. Loving the variety of beats we're getting from these 2. The creativity is just different. The range of samples they're flipping, the different drums they're working with. This one felt like one of those break beats you would use in a 90s song. I was skeptical with like the lack of features on this album, just looking at it on paper. Up into this project, I really saw Mayhem Lauren as more of a feature artist, and he hasn't really held my attention on his own solo projects, not from start to finish. But dog, he's just leveled up. The amount of variety we're getting with the flows, the rhyme schemes, the way that he weaves in between rhyme schemes is so fluid, and then the descriptiveness and the depth that he goes in with his luxury talk and his mob boss talk. He really upped the ante from any of his other projects in his catalog. This is Holographic Rhetoric.
Some need change for $1. I need $1 to change. Holly is like your father, bitch. I'm probably
What is this
estranged.
wordplay?
You are now tuned in to the sun, the moon, and the stars. I gotta change my ways.
Why? Why is this on here? I don't know if that was hologram. They don't really sound like him to me. Maybe it's because there's no processing on his voice. But that was giving me West Side Gun throwing East Side Flip on his album vibes. The little 3-syllable rhyming was decent, but it's a huge step down from anything that Mayhem has spent. It really sounded like DJ Muggs gave his boy a handout with that one. This is Pop Clink Fizz. Funky beat.
It's my nigga, you know what I'm saying? We make moves, man, you know.
You know, using a beat like that for a skit is the equivalent of just throwing up hundreds of dollars in the club. You know, if you got it, you got it. This is O.D. Wilson.
Turn the mic up a little.
The way that this is looped is trippy.
Yeah.
I love how muddy all these sounds sound.
Yeah, reportedly, I've been eating clams off the hood of my whip. Evidently, I be good on the strip. Louis VT, Crestland and Clark's comfortable.
Come on, man.
If you from the block and it popped, then I'm a dump for you. Cover you with plastic like the couch in a Caribbean house. While my mother in amphibian blouse.
That's tough. Hey, that ain't even no Caribbean thing. That's a black grandma thing. Every beat change has been cold.
My rollie got a green face like the throw up emoji. I don't build with niggas do.
That's hilarious. Ah, that's funny, man. I like that line.
Cocaine casserole, escarole up in the escrow, forever fresh dog.
Killing this S sound right here with this alliteration.
Every purchase is an investment. Police cameras and scanners, they searching in your intestines.
Crackhead nigga wanted fucking $3. I told him, I said, yo, my nigga, I'll give it to you full rock and shit.
I want to take this time to apologize to Mayhem. You know, I was unfamiliar with your game. This nigga is like that. I said he was middle class. It was like 3-4 bedroom. He done sold that. He's using that as a rental property. That's not where he actually lived. He lived in one of these houses that he's rapping about. The lyricism just been on 10 for this whole project outside of that last track. I love these two weird beats. Everything sounded muddy in that first sample, but the piano stood out to me. That was my favorite part of that first beat. And then this second beat, he used a reverse sample. That's why I had this ominous feeling to it. He kind of gave it away at the end when he let the sample play out a little bit more. Creative, dog. This is African Pompano. This bass is tough.
Yeah, 1 foot out, but for the right price, I move a few. Louis V down in the bar, and that's how we usually do to your mind. Thinking that you fucking with Lareezy. Fall back, Lord, it's too easy on the block in the hood, like bum bitches with pajama pants. My life is based upon a lot of champs.
The pajama pants line.
Staring at a hooker with a hookah while I'm eating yucca. Late nights in the city, niggas is quick to shoot ya. Park and tackle, berate and clap you. We did science fair projects with drugs, then put them up for raffle. You looked efficient till we dipped you in the water. You came back short and now you owe me like a quarter.
Dog, it's him painting this picture that's so special about his luxury talk. On Evolution, it was like him getting it out the mud, and then here was him having some luxury and having 1 foot in, 1 foot out the drug game. The way he set the scene was special, dog, and the lyricism is fire. Groovy, understated beat. That's another tough song. This is one of them ones. When Muggs get his hands on a guitar sample, sounds grimy.
One of the best, one of the illest, one of the trillest, one of the realest, one of the livest, one of the flyest. For setting fires, I'm still one of them. Your niggas kinda sorta decent. It's a different dope. Imported fabric cover my flesh. We rock a different coat. Alpaca and alpaca.
Alpaca and alpaca. Come on, man. I like that wordplay.
Pull your beige from BC clap for the broth, my nigga. You feel protected, but you not. Like a brick house with glass windows that's getting shot. Your niggas used to talk a lot of shit, think I forgot. This paper gets blown like a flag in the wind. Disappear it, then go get it again.
I like that flag in the wind line.
Get it again.
You splitting hairs when it come to the best beats. That was one of my favorite ones on here. The only thing I didn't like about that song was I thought that was a really clunky chorus. Like, I can't even picture myself singing that chorus out loud. The choruses on this project, though, have been pretty good, though. This just wasn't one of them ones. You see what I did there? A fire beat, though. Like, guitar sample was hard, and then the modulation to the piano. Sick. Unfortunately, we gotta close this thing out with Wild Salmon.
Couple bottles of magma, couple of the homies. Salmon on the grill, we LPs to my Codies.
This is a fire
Actions
chorus.
in the corner fucking with terps. Hand pressing oils while he grilling the skirts. I told Alchemist to put his shirt on, he's looking too pale. Get some sunlight, you scaring the kids.
Come on,
Put
Al.
sauce on the ribs.
He slipped into the darkness. That's why he ain't had no tan.
Mugs pulled up in the black truck, gammon dirty in the front, doing sets, 25 reps. Hologram came through rocking the Coochie, took shrimp off the grill and we fed to the Gucci. The pit bull eats better than your mother. Post almost got knocked by an undercover. Classics playing in the background, Mob Deep and Cypress Hill shit. Nas and AZ, you know the real shit.
You feel
Rosemary,
me?
portobello, strawberry lemonade, spraying champagne at the sun. My niggas getting paid.
So this was a lead single on the album, and I heard it when it came out. I think it sounds better within the context of the album. When I first heard it, I loved that smooth sample. But initially, I thought the rapping, even though it was cool with him incorporating all his homies and the DJs and producers he normally associates with, I thought the rapping was just like fine. I thought it was decent. And so I kind of thought it was just going to be another typical Mayhem Lauren project when it came to the rapping because of this song here. But within the context of this album, it sounds really, really good because this is like the victory celebration, the gathering. It's a really good closer to the album. And the way that he's been able to paint these luxurious scenes, this felt like a perfect culmination of it. And overall, this album's special, dog. Mayhem did it. He really shot me with how good his rapping was from start to finish, really consistently intricate when it came to the rhyme schemes. He really stuck to his gun when it came to the rap topics. It was mob ball talk, it was luxury talk. He didn't stray too far, and the few times where he did stray just a tad bit, like on Evolution when he talked about just straight street talk, he still had super vivid imagery. Same thing on O.D. Wilson when he had 1 foot in, 1 foot out the game, and he was describing that. Dude really surpassed my expectations. What wasn't a shock was how good this production was. I knew with Madlib and Bugs, the production was at least going to be a 9 out of 10. Where I think they do exceed my expectations a little bit was the super wide variety of samples that they use. Both those producers have a particular sound, but there was such a variety of the different beats here. You had some funk in here, you had some 90s aesthetics, you had Mug's signature boom bap style. Every single sample was perfectly placed. This album is excellent. After a slow start, there's been some really great contenders for album of the year already. This is another one. Might be the best produced album of the year, which is saying a lot given how great that JPEG Mafia produced album was that dropped a couple of weeks ago. Mayhem had a performance of his life. This is his magnum opus, in my opinion. Best project of his pretty prolific career. Hopefully this starts a trend of producer collaborations. This thing is great.